Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to do a quick product review of a brand new release of ScaleTrains Rivet Counter EMD SD40-2s. These are in the Illinois Central Gulf gray and orange scheme. So let's go ahead and get one of these opened up here. So I'm going to start with 6040 and we'll get this unpackaged here. I'm going to talk through the unboxing here. Spring 2024 has been a pretty special time. If you model Illinois Central Gulf, Gulf Mobile, and Ohio, there have been a lot of good models that have come out, both freight cars and rolling stock. So I've been waiting for these for a long time. Been waiting for ScaleTrains to produce an Illinois Central or Gulf locomotive. They chose to do these. These are ex-Rock Island units, and I'll talk a little bit more about that here in a second. Let's go ahead and get this unboxed. Very typical model railroad packaging. You have the box with a foam interior, have a nice plastic cradle, sort of a clamshell, styrofoam. We'll go ahead and pull this off here. Have the foam inserts for the handrails, plastic cover. ScaleTrains does do a sort of a plastic cover, I guess, for lack of a better term, on the trucks. It just helps seat it in the cradle. I guess it's more of an extender to get it to fit in the cradle properly. So pretty standard unboxing for H.O. scale locomotive. Before I get too deep into the review of the locomotive, here's the packaging that comes with this particular unit. I will scan the page that has the functions on it. So here's just some CV values. Here's the page with all the functions on here. So I'll scan this and post it on the video so you can see it a little bit better. But ScaleTrains locomotives have amazing lighting features. This particular one has operating marker lights. It has walkway lights. It has the lights underneath the trucks for the ground lighting, ground crews. So because of that, there's a lot of functions on there, and when you go to use the locomotive, there's a few more buttons to push than just on a standard other manufacturer diesel locomotive. Let's just dive in real quick here. As I mentioned, these locomotives that ScaleTrains produced for the Illinois Central Gulf were actually originally built as Chicago, Rock Island, and Pacific or Rock Island locomotives. Illinois Central Gulf acquired these in December, these were built in December 1973. They were acquired right before the 1980s, and they were painted in the ICG orange and gray scheme. A couple things we'll just notice here real quick going through. So this was before ICG removed a lot of the numbers from the high hood. They were, or the roof, I should say. So the headlight is actually mounted on the short hood, and just for ease of maintenance, on a lot of these locomotives, if you see some of the prototype photos, those lights have been removed. This one does have a red emergency light, and I'll demonstrate that here when we get the locomotive on the layout. So really highly detailed. The ICG orange is amazing. Hope it translates into the video. This unit does have a snow plow. You can see it's got the footboards. Very highly detailed sunshades. The trucks, I'm gonna zoom in on the trucks here. They are now painting the wheels of their locomotives sort of a rusty brownish orange to sort of simulate some corrosion occurring on the wheels. So I'm going to show you that here real quick. I know it is hard to see, but you can kind of make out the brownish orange on the inside of the wheels. I think that's a really neat feature for these locomotives. But everything is just really crisp on these locomotives. Again, just further going down the unit here, you can see here's the blower. You have your sight glass for the fuel tank, fuel filler. The Rock Island units, again, these are turbocharged prime movers, so you have a single exhaust stack, which is very common on the turbocharged units. This unit does not have dynamic brakes, so you don't see the bulge in the long hood here. Very prominent spotting feature on the SD40-2s are the array of 3 radiator fans towards the back of the long hood. And you can see the rear of the unit. You have a pretty large sill, which again, due to the length of the frame of these locomotives, you get a nice long sill on the front and the back of most of the standard built ones. Here's just a view of the rear of the locomotive. Again, you can see, I'll demonstrate these. Here we got functioning marker lights on the rear of the locomotive and the front for that matter. Sorry, get this centered here. It is a little bit hard to see, but there actually is a light. So when we do the sound here and check the functions, you'll be able to see that. And just take a look at the engineer side. One thing you'll notice, there are the sandpipes down here by the trucks, so you'll kind of hear them clicking as the trucks move. They do get caught a little bit on the trucks as they're turning. Here is inspection glass window, and that's again standard on the SD40-2s and a lot of the GP38-2s. Getting up more towards the engineer's side. This is very interesting. I saw the prototype photos, and on this side you'll notice that there is a spacing between the numbers here. This is actually a vent for the crew in the cab. So it's kind of interesting. Illinois Central Gulf decided to split the numbers, or have the numbers split where that vent is. I'll show you some pictures here of the prototype locomotive on both of these. This particular 6040 was originally built as the Rock Island 4790, and you can see that they put the numbers actually below, kind of down on the battery box. So they just chose to put the numbers lower than have them deal with that cab vent. The other locomotive that I got, the ICG 6046, was built as Rock Island 4796. The best that I could tell, both of these units, after the Illinois Central Gulf was done with them, became leasing units, EMD leasing locomotives, and they were eventually repainted in the EMD leasing blue and white. What's kind of really cool, to the best that I can tell, 6046, after it spent some time as an EMD leasing unit, it was acquired by Webb Asset Management, and it was painted Wisconsin Southern, and it is currently, as best as I can tell, still in operation, operating as Wisconsin Southern number 4171. So these locomotives, or at least one of the two that was built way back in December 1973, is still in service today, over 50 years later. So I think that speaks to the longevity of these locomotives and how popular they are amongst the railroads. And even now you'll still find some of these on some of the short lines, or you might find them in some branch service, some yard service on some of the Class 1 railroads. So just real quick, back up towards front here. Again, very highly detailed in terms of all of the separately applied grab irons. The paint is nice and crisp. Again, this is one of the best ICG oranges that I've come across. You know, very, very well defined sand filler hatch. I was wondering, it looks like these drop steps might actually go up and down, and they do. So these are functional drop steps. It's pretty cool. So you can see all the MU receptacle, the MU hoses. Again, snowplow on the front. Prototypically correct. Some of the safety stickers or safety paints that they have on here. They did paint their grab irons white for safety for the crew to be able to better see. You can also see that they painted the coupler cut levers in white as well. So very, very nice locomotive, and I am very excited to get this on the layout here and give it a test run. So I have 6040 sitting here on my test layout. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do a test of the lighting functions, just sort of walk you through how the lighting functions work. Then I'll run through the sound functions. I'm doing this a little bit different. I'm showing the brakeman side of the locomotive to start with. If you see that step there, about 3/4 of the way down the side of the long hood, there actually is a light there along the frame to illuminate that step. So I wanted to show that the other side of the locomotive is flat across. There's no light for that walkway. So I wanted to show you that. Then I'll turn it around, give you a view of the front lighting of the locomotive, and then, like I said, we'll go into the sound function check as well.